There was a certain man which was clothed in purple and fine linen, and he fed sumptuously or extravagantly every day. And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which laid at his gate full of sores. Now notice there are two beggars in this story. One begs in time and the other begs in eternity. The other is begging at the gates, hoping he can get a few crumbs. But you find a little later, in verse 24, that this man cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me. He's begging. Have mercy, have mercy. This shatters forever the idea you can pray to saints. This man prayed at the wrong time to the wrong person for the wrong thing, and he got the wrong answer. Yeah. There was a certain man named Lazarus, laid at his gate full of sores, desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table, and moreover the dogs came and licked his sores. Well, they were kinder than the old rascal that had the money. He never helped him. It came to pass that the beggar died, and what? What is it in your version? He was carried? He was carried. The rich man died and was buried. There's no record that the poor man was ever buried. He was most likely taken to Gehenna, the place where they dumped all the offal and the dirt and the filth in that valley where the worms didn't ever die and the fires never went out. But the rich man had an ostentatious funeral. I was going to say maybe he was a mason, but there weren't masons then, but it was a show. Richest man in town. I remember when I came to America for the first time in 1950, there was the funeral of a gangster I happened to see there in Chicago. Good night. You'd have thought it was Julius Caesar they were burying. They had crosses longer than the casket. They had open, carriages behind stacked with flowers, thousands of dollars worth of flowers. A wicked, violent man who'd been involved in murders and rape and bootlegging and every devilish thing, and they gave him a funeral of a king. Now, which is best, to be carried or to be buried? I thought I was going to be carried away tonight when you were singing. But I knew it wouldn't be, because you wouldn't have got this great truth. But anyhow. It came to pass the beggar died and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom, which was a Jewish conception of heaven. The rich man also died and was buried. In hell he lifted up his eyes, being in torments. And he seeth Abraham afar. You know, that thing got hold of me? And it still has hold of me. This man is in torment. You've heard me say more than once, I'm going to heaven, and I'm not going for the weekend. And some of you are going to hell, and you're not going for the weekend. I didn't have time. I'd like to have had a piece of paper put across here with this printed in big letters on it tonight so you would see it. Hell has no exits. We read of heaven, there are 12 gates into heaven. It doesn't say there are any gates into hell. It's Jesus says, quoting what? I think it's the 5th chapter in Isaiah, which he quoted most often from that chapter. Hell hath enlarged her mouth to swallow the generations, to swallow the people that think they're secure and happy. It doesn't say much about this rich man except that he was rich. The poor man sat at his gate. Everybody despised, rejected, forgot about him. The rich man was cast down. The poor man went into Abraham's bosom. Notice what it says carefully here. In hell he lifted up his eyes, being in torments, and he seeth. He seeth. You know, people in hell can see. If you were to pull that blind away, don't do it well. But if you did, and there were some people standing out there, they could see and hear and say, well, that's Brother Ravenhill, that's Sister somebody. Those people in darkness can see everything that's going on in this room. I can't see a thing. Somebody might be choking a man out there. Somebody might have a revolver at his head. I can't see. But he that's out in the darkness, the total darkness, can see everybody in here. I believe one of the perpetual torments, remember, it's not going to pass in a weekend. I believe everybody goes to hell. They'll see everything that's going on in heaven. Verse 23, he seeth, he lifted up his eyes being in torments. So he's very conscious. You know, some people try to say, well, there isn't such a thing as hell. A few minutes after the man gets angry, he says, go to hell. What's he saying? Go to nowhere? Jesus spoke about hell 10 times. He spoke about heaven only once. We need to recover our balance. I've said to you over and over again, we are not eternity conscious enough. 12 gates into the city of God, only one way into hell. No exits. It says they go in and out of the city, but nobody went in and out of hell. It says there's a new heaven and a new earth. It never says there's a new hell and a new devil.